How are you all today? Huh? Huh? Request for what? Oh, dedication, huh? Oh, wow. Okay, Jin Chin, there's a dedication request. Okay, we'll do it later, at the end. Talk Sing. We can do it now. So, there's a dedication request that just came in from Jin Chin. His uncle Lim Sui Bing fell at work on Thursday, hit his head, hospitalized and need operation. So, let's extend dedication to the uncle. May he have the conditions and support from the Chipa Gem to have smooth operations. May the doctors and the nurses have clarity of mind in discharging their services and care. Also extend a dedication to Joe, one of the staff with the Buddhist library, who is attached to the Paramitas meditation center in Sri Lanka, Kandy, and recently fell ill, hospitalized, and then his conditions worsened and went into a stroke and then coma. So now in ICU, serious conditions. May he also have the conditions and support from the Chipa Gem and the medical team for speedy recovery. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. So, before we jump into the text, let's go through our weekly ritual. Let's see, on my left, first row, second row, third row, fourth row, all season parking holder. Fifth row, also season. This one, the fifth row is the extended season parking holder. Sixth row, you have introduced before? Have you introduced before? No, huh? What? Tell us your name and how you got to know about this group. Irvin? Welcome. You joined the urban retreat? I see. And so you are inside the chat group? Oh no? So how do you get to know about this group cultivation? I see. Okay, good. Welcome, welcome. And then the next row, season. You have introduced before, right? No? First time? Good. Welcome. And I think you have to introduce yourself again. Yes. Yes. Good. Welcome. So let's see on the right side. Season. Scissors, paper, stone. The lady, have you introduced yourself before? Where's your friend? And what's your name? Biling. So that's the third or fourth billing? Fifth billing. So please remember to get a number later. Welcome. Your friend hasn't come for a while, huh? Maybe we should introduce to everybody again. Welcome back. Okay, then the next row. Have you introduced before? Yeah.
First time here, my wife, so I'm Jason. Okay. First time here with my wife, and my name is Jason. I came here with a friend introduced us here.
Uh-huh.
But actually, I've actually been following the Facebook group for a while, so yeah, familiar with the teachings.
Okay, good. And your wife?
Hi, my name is Evelyn. So I got introduced here by my friend Chuan.
Good. Welcome, welcome. And then behind, whole family. The lady, second lady, the next to the pink color lady, the black color tea. You're together, right? Or introduced before? Have you introduced before? Introduced before, huh? Okay. Oh, she was like, introduced before already. Okay, I think everybody has introduced. Welcome to SGC, Spiritual Group Cultivation, where we have short puja, short meditation, and well, depending on perception, some would say it's not so short, Dharma sharing. Some can't have enough. So every week we have different topics. Sometimes we have teachings that is a series, and sometimes we have the standalone ones. So today is part of the first week series, which is the Bodhisattva Precepts. Yeah. So part of the Bodhisattva Precepts, the ones that we are covering, is from the Yogācārabhūmi-śāstra. Yeah. So that's quite a mouthful. But as I would share with people, the precepts are specific to those who have undertaken the vows, the Bodhisattva vows. But in many ways, the teachings apply to each and every one of us. In some cases, I would say they would apply to anyone, whether or not you are a Buddhist. So, take for example, I think, have we gone through Precept 34? So today we are at Precept 34. Yeah? Precept 34 is over here. So Precept 34, not repaying kindness. Yeah. So this is a precept which I think most would agree that you don't need to be a Buddhist or to be a Bodhisattva to consider it befitting to repay kindness, to repay the with gratitude. To be grateful to those who have been kind to us, isn't it? Yeah. I think it'd be a sad moment or sad day for humanity if people need religion to tell them to be grateful. Yeah. I think as a human being, we ought to be grateful. Yeah. So sometimes some individuals have suggested that while we teach our kids, and we ourselves have gone through the educational system, where we learn how to make sense of the physical world, of the world outside. We learned to count, but we never learn to count our blessings. Yeah, we learn to use words, form sentences, but we never quite learn how to form kind sentences. Yeah, we learn to make argumentative essays, but we never learn to choose when not to argue. Yeah, we learn so much things, and sometimes perhaps we miss out on the most important lesson, which is to learn to be grateful. Yeah, so this precept 34, not repaying kindness, to me is most apt. Yeah, most apt for anyone. So let's take a look. If a bodhisattva, out of detest, does not thank or repay someone's kindness in equal or greater portion, this is named a transgression. Multiple transgression is a transgression of defiant nature. If acted out of laziness or slackness, such transgression is of undefiled nature. So this is the verse itself, and the opening in all the precepts starts with if a bodhisattva, yeah, and this is the context, because these are specific rules and undertaking, yeah, for someone who says, I am a bodhisattva. But who is such a person who would say, I am a bodhisattva? Yeah. A person who says, I am a bodhisattva, is someone who has basically decided that he shall not simply spend his life, or her life for that matter, just devoted to his own welfare. No, that is no longer satisfying enough. Yeah, but rather, he sees life as beyond himself or herself. That he wants to devote his life, and not just one life, life after life, towards the welfare and benefit of not just humans, but all sentient beings. A term that I've sort of coined in previously is that Bodhisattvas are the super activists. Yeah? Dog activists, dog lovers, they love dogs. Yeah? So they care for the welfare of dogs. In China, when they have the dog festival, yeah, ironically, yeah, the dog festival in China is not in celebration of dogs, but the consumption of dog meat. Yeah, so for a dog lover, such a week would be such a, it's almost like a nightmare. Yeah? But at the same time, a dog lover may not feel so strongly towards, let's say, pigs being killed. Yeah? No crime or shame in that. Yeah? To me, for a person to have that much love and compassion towards dogs is wonderful. Yeah? The same goes for those who are whale activists. Yeah? They will go out of harm's way. And many of them are volunteers. Yeah? Meaning that they probably take a sabbatical for a year and then hop into a dinghy boat, yeah, and then go all the way into the middle of the ocean, risking their life, yeah, spending their own money, and then campaigning against this huge whaling ship, yeah, and sometimes smashing itself against it just to make a point and sort of deter them, in a way to provoke them to shoot, and once it shoot, then the police can come in. Yeah. So who would do such things? Yeah. A whale activist would do such things. But you don't necessarily see the same people campaigning for dogs. You don't see them campaigning for other animals. And again, no crime and shame in that. It's wonderful that they would go out of harm's way to protect other beings. Yeah. So then what about a bodhisattva? A bodhisattva simply goes a few more beings than most activists. Yeah? A bodhisattva is an all-rounder activist. It's a sentient being activist. Basically, any being that is sentient, meaning is conscious, can feel, yeah, is aware. That is the target for a bodhisattva. That is the recipient of the care and love of a bodhisattva. So, such a person, having such mindset, yeah, having such a goal, if you then look at this, if a bodhisattva, if a person who has made the declaration that his life is to be devoted to the welfare of all sentient beings, yeah, should, out of detest, yeah, not thank or repay someone's kindness, Yeah, so here there's no ambiguity about whether it's real kindness or fake kindness. Yeah, you know how sometimes some people appear to be kind to us, but actually has ulterior motive, or actually the kindness isn't really kindness. Yeah. So here is about when someone is truly kind to the Bodhisattva. However, for whatever reason, well, actually there's some reason, not whatever, out of detest. Yeah, so the Bodhisattva has some maybe grudges towards the person. The person is kind, is helpful, has offered help, assistance in so many ways, care in so many ways. But somehow the Bodhisattva detests that person, is unhappy, yeah, and solely because of that, do not thank or repay that person's kindness. So, and to what extent? In equal or greater portion. So this is quite clear. That if someone has helped you before, you should repay the kindness at least in equal portion, or if not, should be more. Cannot be lesser. So this means that even if the person thank or repay the kindness, but lesser portion. Yeah? Maybe the person hold the door for you, then you just... yeah. Have you ever encountered people when they hold the door and they just walk right through? Yeah? Yeah, okay. How many of you feel happy about that? Raise your hand. Yeah, of course. How many of you feel a bit frustrated? Maybe a tad bit. Yeah, hold the door, and the person treat you like jaga, you know, like yeah, good job, yeah, keep it up. I must say that when any of us hold the door for someone, we are quite clearly not looking for some reward. I hope not. Is there anyone who hold the door hoping for a tip or something? I don't think so, right? Yeah. But quite naturally, if the person were to like extend the hand and say, "Oh, thank you," we would feel What is the We will perhaps feel encouraged to help others in future. We will feel that, hey, this person is a person who appreciates my assistance. Yeah. So sometimes it's not so much about reward, it's about knowing that the person appreciates our assistance. Yeah. So in this case, the Bodhisattva maybe don't show much appreciation. Yeah. And if a Bodhisattva were to do that, then this is named a transgression. And again, transgression of what? Yeah. Is it the transgression? Transgression means to act against. Yeah. Act against what? Act against the Buddha? Then the Buddha come and punish you. Act against Guan Pusa, we have so many hands, come and slap you one time with each hand, 1,000 hands. Oh, no. So when it's named a transgression, it's really a transgression against yourself, against your own wishes. Yeah. It is like if a person say, I want to slim down, and then indulge in all kinds of fatty food, then you have done a transgression, not against your gym instructor, you're not against the doctor, against yourself, because it's against your own wishes. Yeah, against your own wishes. So likewise, a Bodhisattva is a Bodhisattva not by conferment. Yeah, you're not conferred the title of Bodhisattva. Nobody can come and say, I make you a Bodhisattva against your will. Yeah, if it's possible, I will just Bodhisattva. Wow, so many Bodhisattva. Yeah, and then go all over Singapore. Yeah, Bodhisattva. Yeah, then somehow you wake up the next morning, and then when you get in a train, you sit down at the reserved seat, and then you see someone, I have to stand up. Why? Can't help it, I'm a Bodhisattva already. It doesn't quite work that way. Yeah. When a person formally goes through the ceremony, a series of questions is being asked. Yeah. basically we will be taught all the different teachings, and then it will be recited, and then the preceptor will ask, 汝是菩萨否? It's very interesting. The question is actually this: are you a Bodhisattva? And then the person who is undertaking this vow has to make the declaration himself. 是菩萨. Yeah, and the preceptor will tell us during the rehearsal, better speak up loud. Be very clear about it. Have conviction in it. Don't, 是菩萨. I think so. Are you a Bodhisattva? Maybe. My friend brought me here, so maybe I'm a Bodhisattva. No. I'm a Bodhisattva. Kind of like when some of you get married, you have a justice of peace or the solemnizer, and then the person asks like, do you take this lady as your, I don't know what is the actual sequence, only remember from movies. Huh?
Your fully wedded wife.
As your fully wedded wife, to honor and cherish in health and sickness, in poverty and tiobepio. And so, and yada. Yeah, then what must you say? All the guys, you must say, I do. Or you, I think so. Or I think that's the start of your time of nightmare. Yeah. Likewise, if the lady, after asked the question, then, I guess okay lah. Yeah, okay lah. No, nobody else asked, so here we go. Yeah, you would want the other party to be like full of certainty, like, and perhaps even better if there are some obstacles before that, and yet the person persists and say, I do. Wow, then you feel, wow, you are such a good catch. The other person went against all odds, put up with all kinds of rubbish, and still say I do. In much the same way, a Bodhisattva is someone who does that. I mean, it's easier to just care for yourself. Easier to just turn the other way when something bad is happening to another person. Easier to just walk through and not hold the door. Yeah. Easier to see someone in pain and just ignore it. But some of you may not agree. Some of you may not agree because that's not how you experience it. Because for some of us, when you see someone in pain, you quite naturally feel compassion. You quite naturally feel a bit of pain, if you will. Yeah, when you see someone in trouble, you feel sorry for that person. You feel compelled. Much like, the first, there was that Fukushima. Yes, the TEPCO nuclear plant disaster. There was, maybe because of Facebook, there was so much reporting of it. There was one night when I was looking through and I just had this wave of emotions, if you will. This urge, this impulse to say like, you know what, let me just drop the classes and go there and see what I can do, Yeah, and I felt so compelled that I wrote on Facebook. And then my more level-headed students tell me, Shifu, hold your horses. If you go there now, you may be more of a liability than help. Because first of all, you're not cleared, you're not trained, you're not qualified to help in any ways. When you go there, they'll have to figure a way to put up with you. But despite that, sometimes in our life we feel that. So on one hand, we can say that it's easier to just live a life caring for ourselves. But at the same time, some of us, we do feel that compassion. And perhaps even before learning Dharma, even before we truly become aware of the Buddha's teaching, that when we see someone, and the person may not well be even related to us, that we may see someone suffer, in a disaster, even in the roadside, or whatever circumstances. And then we feel that gnawing feeling in us. We may not have had the words to describe it, compassion. Sometimes I feel that when we use it too often, it becomes a cliche, you know? Yeah? Like, metta, karuna. Let's generate metta for all sentient beings. Nothing wrong with that. But it's just that sometimes, when you do feel for the situation, for the person you feel, if whether or not you have the words to describe it. And when you feel strongly enough, then you cannot close your eyes towards the suffering. Then you can no longer say, yeah, who cares? Then you find yourself tired from your work, but you just still have that something inside, that little bit of light, if you will, little bit, the last bit of energy, and you say, you know what, never mind, let me use that last bit of energy to see what I can do. And maybe you will fail. In many cases we will fail. And yet you will say, never mind, I tried. Yeah. A Bodhisattva is someone who is like that. The series of teachings and precepts and practices is to help someone with this bit of compassion, to help that person become more nurtured, to grow and develop, such that the person no longer just have that bit of strength, but have a limitless well of energy. No longer, help halfway and then, yeah. I mean, sometimes after work, when we come back home, let's not even talk about people outside. Sometimes after work, we go back home, we still want to care for our family, our parents, our children, but then we are so tired already. And then when they come and just need maybe 5 minutes, 10 minutes from our time, and we just feel, easier to just say, very tired. Daddy very busy. Or mommy is very tired. Or sometimes we don't even say that. Sometimes we just, what do you want? Yeah? A Bodhisattva is someone who would over time train themselves to have just this bottomless well of energy. Yeah. That no matter how tough it is, the next person will come to you, yes, how can I help you? Best in customer service. So if such a person were to then not thank or repay someone, wouldn't it be strange? But if this person acted out of laziness, so if you're lazy or you're slacking, like you're chilling, and then so you didn't go and express your gratitude and thanks, it's still a transgression, but of undefiled nature. Because it's nothing personal towards that person. It is not because you have a grudge towards that person, it's not because you have anger towards that person. It's just that you are maybe just too tired. Yeah? Doesn't make it right, but less wrong. Yeah, less wrong. So, exception clauses. Non-transgression. In some cases, you cannot possibly repay the person's kindness. Yeah, if it is beyond one's means. Yeah, beyond one's means. Yeah, someone saved your life, and then in the process died. Like, how to repay the person's kindness? Go and die. Perhaps help his family. Yeah. But would that be considered equal or greater portion? Maybe. Or how about if one uses skillful means, causing the other party's defilements to be subdued? Yeah. So this is a recurring theme. Yeah. That sometimes in many cases, there's the right way to do it, and then there's the left way. Yeah, in Singapore, we have the right way and the left way. This is talking about the left way. So the normal right way is someone is kind to you, someone helps you, and so on and so forth. The right way is to repay the kindness, extend your gratitude, your thanks, even just a thank you note, something. Yeah? But in some cases, maybe the person has become very haughty. Even while the person is kind and helpful, the person somehow has developed some big ego. Oh, I help everybody. Oh, I expect everybody to thank him or her, you know. Then the Bodhisattva observe and note, this person, while acting in this way, if someone were to not thank him, okay, not return that kindness, yeah, it will cause him to pause. It will cause him to rethink his premise, his assumptions. It will cause him to, it will jolt him out of his comfort zone, so to speak. And then, as a result, he'll be able to overcome his defilements. Yeah. But this is a big if. So, if you know for a fact that a person can change by not doing it, yeah, and then you do it and it actually helps that person, then it's not considered a transgression. Earlier on, when a person don't do it out of laziness or slackness, it's still considered a transgression, but of undefiled nature. Yeah, because the reasons for not doing is different. But you may, at this point, have some questions like, Bodhisattva like that one? Yeah? You mean a Bodhisattva can be lazy? Then the next time when you go to Simalu and you pray to Guan Yin Ma or Guan Yin Pusa, then you look at Guan Yin Pusa with all the hands, then you, sure or not? The text say sometimes maybe acted out of laziness, like, you got lazy or not? I'll be told. You must know that these are for the practicing Bodhisattva, okay? Those who are still trying, haven't made it yet. Yeah. Guan Yin Pusa is stage 10 Bodhisattva. Yeah. What stage are we? Stage 9.5? 8? Stage 0 or -1? Yeah. So, as we go through all these precepts, there's an underlying theme, which is that these teachings are given not as arbitrary rules, not with kind of high expectations demanding this or that, but by those who have walked this path. And so they understand. They know that sometimes you will do stupid things like that. Sometimes, not easy, you know. Those of you who are parents, or in a relationship, you try, afterward, fed up lah, don't reply your text. Yeah? Just a few times, then you don't want to reply text. But a Bodhisattva is not just a few times, no. Over a life, over multiple lives. So for sure, at some point, you may lose steam. You may burn out. Yeah? And then you may just succumb to laziness. You may succumb to slackness. You just feel like, what do I care? But it's nothing personal towards that person. Yeah, so it is still a transgression, but of undefiled nature. And this is most applicable for those of us who are practicing Bodhisattva. Yeah? But for those who are still practicing, you may have some skillful means. You know that, a point about number 2, usually this is when the person has respect towards you. Okay? Don't anyhow try. Yeah? When the person has respect towards you, yeah, then there's a higher chance that if you use skillful means, yeah, that means while repaying kindness, saying thanks is useful, but If the person has no respect for you or has minimal respect for you, when you don't say thanks, how would the person interpret?
理所当然。
理所当然. If we say thanks, 理所当然, of course expected. Yeah. But if it's someone that you don't really have a high opinion, and the person do not say thanks, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. And we'll just say, this person, we just dismiss this person and not think twice about it. And we may even have greater contempt for the person. But if this person is someone that we usually hold in high accord, yeah, high esteem, and then somehow, and usually this person would say thanks and appreciation, but that day suddenly the person just don't say anything. In such a case, there's a higher chance, I don't say 100%, but a higher chance that we may think twice. What happened now? Why is it that this person today never said anything? This is such a case. Okay? So, number 3, if the other party does not accept one's gratitude. 不领情, yeah. So, when a person... now there's a bit of an interesting twist here. A, the person actually show us kindness. But B, the person does not accept our gratitude. Yeah, in our Singapore context, this is quite common. Yeah, especially Chinese. We Chinese like to do this. We want to help people, but don't want people to return our kindness. Yeah, 宁可让人家欠我，不要欠别人. Yeah, we like to do this. So sometimes the other person may not accept our gratitude. We want to extend our gratitude. The other person will refuse it or even get upset. So in such cases, then perhaps the better thing to do is not to make a big deal out of it. Yeah, but don't use this as a loophole. Yeah, then every time, no, I don't think he will accept my gratitude. Yeah. So, not repaying kindness. Can you all think of a situation where you wouldn't feel comfortable about repaying the person's kindness? Or have you all encountered such a situation before? Or are you all or is repaying kindness a new thing to you? Of course not, So, the Chinese text, this is, what happened? Oh, it's loose again. Okay, the VGA cable is a bit goyak. Okay, hold it there. Okay, don't move. Okay. Arigatou gozaimashita. Thank you so much. Okay. Okay, so where is the text here? So the English text that you saw is a translation done by myself and Dharma brother from the Chinese text. The Chinese text, in turn, was translated by Xuanzang Dashi, from the Sanskrit source. Yeah. So when we go through some of these texts, it's quite. I don't know about how you feel, but personally, it sometimes feels quite. I thought it looked okay just now.
The other side is a bit off.
Oh, okay. Is it okay? It's quite amazing because this is a historical person from 1,500 over years ago. And he became even more famous because of the 西游记. Although 西游记 is a novelization, dramatization of his trip. But there was really such a monk. And he traveled 10 over years to and from India, and then brought back copious set of the teachings, and then started the translation process. He's not the only one, but he's a major key translator in the Chinese Mahayana Buddhism. Yeah, so let's take a look. 若菩萨受他恩惠，以贤恨心，不以答谢。若增抽报彼者，是名为犯众多犯，是犯扰无期。若懒惰懈怠，犯非扰无期。不犯者，若作方便而无力。若以方便令彼调伏，如前说。若欲报恩而彼不受。Yeah, so the Chinese text, for the most part, it should be quite clear, evident from the translation, but perhaps a few terms need to be clarified. So, for example, if you notice here, so for example, 不以答谢，若增抽报彼者. Yeah, so when we read some of the classical Chinese texts, sometimes the order or the relation can become ambiguous. Yeah, so it's almost like it's almost as though if a person were to repay kindness equal or more, then there's a problem. But actually, there's a 不. Yeah, 不以答谢. So the classical Chinese often has an implicit bracket, yeah, around sometimes long sentences. Yeah. So this is one thing. The other one is this 方便. Yeah, 方便. Today when we use the word 方便, it means convenience. Yeah, to either accord convenience to others or to say that something is convenient. Yeah, but in classical Chinese, the word 方便 actually refers to what we call 方法 today. Yeah, yeah. So the means to do something. Yeah. So if you were to read some of the Buddhist texts, you will see the word 方便 all over the place. Yeah, 前方便. Yeah, the precursor steps or the means before doing something. Yeah. So the meaning is not what we use today. So just take note of that. 方便 refers to the steps, the methods, the means. Yeah, so 若作方便而无力. So you have done all the steps, yeah, you to actually repay kindness, but as you are doing that, you lack the full means. Yeah, you are incapable of completing the whole task. Okay. 若以方便令彼调伏. So this whole verse here is found in many other precepts. 若以方便令彼调伏，如前说. So this is referring to the first instance. The first instance mentioned about how what I've explained earlier actually, that sometimes in order to help a person overcome the defilements, then you have to do the opposite. Yeah. But you do this with the clear knowing that doing so can help them. Yeah. So that this is where sometimes in Singapore, yeah, as Singaporeans, we sometimes have this law by law self-righteousness. Yeah. Sometimes we are overwhelmed by this conditioning. Yeah. No one have to be like that one. Yeah. So we sometimes insist on things knowing that it doesn't produce the results we want, and yet we still insist. Yeah. Simply on the basis that we are correct. And sometimes it is detrimental to others, sometimes worse still is to us, and sometimes to both. Yeah. So one example I often remember is when we have the what you call that, the crossing, yeah, the traffic crossing. When you are a pedestrian, yeah, and you are crossing, what must you check first before you cross at the red traffic lights? Very good. At this point, yeah, no, after the Dharma talk, everybody is like, that's a very cheap question. Must I check whether the cars are dependent arising or empty first? Come on, when you're at the traffic light, you want to cross the junction, what must you do? Yes, check the red light, that it turns green, right? Yeah, the green man, correct?
Yes.
Then what else must you do? Check that the car has stopped. Yeah, we all know this. But how many times have you seen people, once the thing turns green, chong ah! And nowadays even worse. Nowadays people just chong like that. Ding, 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 ding. And, yeah. It is almost as though somehow, because the green man is there, somehow the car, even speeding down, would just magically stop. Sometimes it does, oftentimes it does. Yeah? Oftentimes people stop at the opposing red light. But sometimes they don't. And that's where accidents happen. I can't tell you how many times I've told people, better to be wrong alive than dead right. Better to be wrong alive than dead right. Even if you are right of way, you cross, and then this car just, somehow miss the red light or decide to skip the red light, knock you down. And then you fly 10 feet away, and then you're lying down there. I have right of way. Are you going to do that? Doesn't make sense, does it? Yeah. But similarly, for non-physical situation, where sometimes you are in an argument, yeah, even if you are correct, but if you know that there's no way you can convince that person, then you got to ask yourself, agree to disagree. This is a very common term nowadays, agree to disagree. Yeah. If that works for you, then that's good. Yeah. But you got to really ask yourself, is your life worth getting into all this, for what? Yeah, if you know that after spending that 15 minutes arguing and quarreling, hey, you are able to let them see the point of view, yeah, then maybe it's worth the while. But if you know, after a few times you know that the person just, unamendable, then should you even try? Yeah, the person is like the truck that's careening down, Yeah, not going to stop, not for nothing. So then, yeah. Okay, we have 5 minutes more. I know. Yeah. So I have decided a few weeks ago to keep the teachings short and sweet also. For many years actually, there was one time this nun attended one of the group cultivation I did, and after 2 hours of sharing, when we finished, did the dedication, then she came over and she said, "Wow, Venerable, I must say that it was really wonderful." That's what she said, not me, okay? And then she said, "I'm just wondering, you shared so much, you practically shared the whole Tripitaka, all the fundamental teachings, the advanced, everything." And then she said, "I just wonder whether is it too much for them, whether they can digest or not." Yeah, so I've been thinking about that. Yeah, so I'm going to give you all 5 minutes to ask questions. Then after that, we'll do dedication, and we will end, because I realized that even if I stop at 2:30, there's the queuing up for the card and things like that. Yeah. Okay, so question, come on, like, ma'am. Okay, any questions?
For those people who are unamenable,
Yes.
you just teach them alone. There's nothing much you can do, right?
So
So how to help these people? See, they are unamenable, and then just leave them alone. When you make things worse, they're like, nobody's helping them. Just leave them alone. But if we go and do something, they will get angry.
yeah.
What should I do?
So if you don't do anything, they will not get angry, right?
No, he may think that, wow, these people are not helping me. I have a situation.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Some people,
They think, wow, these people are
like,
not helping me anymore.
if you help,
Then
Yeah. So unfortunately, we all have had our share of such situations. Yeah. And as much as we may care for that person and we want to help that person, sometimes it's not the easiest thing to do. Yeah. If there's one thing, perhaps the first thing I want to highlight is, don't ask someone to slim down if they don't consider themselves fat. Yeah. So, it may seem counterintuitive because it means that sometimes the best thing for a person is to let them sort of come to terms with their situation and let them come to you and to say that they need help. Of course, not just leave them in the lurch and then wait until they die and rot. Then, do you need help, by the way? Yeah, be there, but don't be too quick to offer help. Yeah. But there are also those who, when you don't actively offer help, then they say, "Oh, you don't care about me." So, not easy to strike a balance, I must say. Yeah. The reason why I adopt this approach is because when a person has taken the first step to seek help, half the problem is solved already. Because firstly, they know that there's a problem. Yeah. Because if there are even those who come and seek help from me, when I ask them, so what do you want to see at the end of the day? And then they realize that they're not so clear also. But at least they know that something is amiss. They just don't know what is amiss, or they don't know what is the solution, or what is the outcome they really want. But at least they know something is amiss. Then we can, spend some time to discover, to explore. Yeah. So, sometimes the best thing we can do for some people is to not actively help them. But when we say don't help them, doesn't mean that when the person texts you, Shifu said don't help you. Archive. Then the person, what's your name again? Sorry. Yeah. Huh? Miao Ling. Then the person, Miao Ling, I need to talk to you. I really need your help. Shifu said, don't be so eager to help. Archive. If a person explicitly asks for your help already, then help lah. Yeah. 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 We think they need help. Let me relate to you this story. Okay? There was once, I was at Lower Pierce Reservoir. So there was this day, there's this wooden platform along the reservoir. So I was sitting there, and then I saw insects flying around, and then suddenly I saw this insect struggling across the water. Wow, so filled with compassion, I reached out without a thought for my own danger. Reach out, and then the insect clung onto my finger, for life, and I remove it from the water. I'm like, you're now safe. Then I put onto the wooden platform. And I say, now you're okay, don't worry, yeah. Then, and what I usually do, sometimes I rescue ants or insects or spider from the toilet bowl or whatever, and then I will blow them dry. And then that day, as I did that, it didn't fly away, It just stayed there. And then it continued, as in the wing, not pager or anything. And it's not flying, I thought about it. Then suddenly, it clicked, It suddenly dawned on me that I didn't rescue it. I actually almost killed it. So I quickly, carefully remove it from the wooden plank and then put it back. And then it continued. So later on I searched online. It turned out to be a water skipper. So, because from my angle, it really looked like he was struggling in water. I don't know whether it's a he or she, but it really looked as though the insect was struggling, but it was actually paddling. So, that was quite an interesting, well, maybe not so interesting for the insect, but very interesting for me. Very insightful, because it dawned on me that, how many times have I went head in, guns blazing, telling people to do this and try that, when maybe they are not so okay, but maybe they are quite okay. From my angle, I really perceive that they are not so okay. But who am I to say that they are okay or not? So until they very clearly tell you, I'm not okay. Yeah. Now my stand is this. Yeah. I'm not so eager to make the call. You're not okay. Come, let me save you. 来，我救你。Yeah. But you know that person better. Yeah, you know that person better. I don't know that person. I'll be happy to sit down with that person or you, and we can maybe further the discussion. Okay? And yes.
Okay, this is about a situation that occurred to me
Ah.
when I needed help. So it was a few years ago, right? So it's like I needed help from this person. Then he said, it's okay, help you. Then later in the end, it turns out it was like some lip service. So I felt like very sad. That is why saying that. So I thought of giving the person another chance. Because on the basis that we all make mistakes on these things. Later it was in Polytechnic, so I was struggling with this girl who purposely made my life difficult.
Wait, who made your life difficult?
A girl.
Oh.
A girl, yeah. So I asked my teacher, and then asked that guy. So the teacher really helped me.
So now there's a girl and a guy and you.
Yeah.
Okay.
So after that, the teacher managed to help me, but I didn't get a response from that guy.
Ah.
So I thought that maybe so I don't know whether I was foolish and I give another chance. And then even though tell the teacher, this girl still refused to make my life easy.
Oh, wait. I'm getting confused. So the girl makes your life difficult,
Yeah.
and the guy
If somebody gave
gave lip service but didn't offer help.
Yeah.
So, offer help to you to do what?
To stop that girl.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
So then after that, this person, when I told him about this situation, then he told me, sorry mate, can't do it, you can do it. And he used the word
Sorry, what?
sorry mate, M-A-T. You know when people are close to each other, they call.
Oh, mate.
Yeah.
Sorry, mate. Oh, Australia.
This is the Australian. Can't do, you can. So he purposely
Can't do you what?
Can't do it. That means he can't
do
stop
it.
the girl.
Okay.
He can do it. Actually, it's not that he can't do it. It's just that he don't want to. And I told him all these things about.
How do you know that he can't do it?
Because I asked you, what's so difficult? Let's say I tell this person to stop. He's not going to send assassins to kill me. Let's say.
So why can't you then do it yourself?
Because I couldn't do it. That's why I asked for help.
But why can't you do it?
Because I told the person, I retaliated. And when the person raised voice, I also raised back, and then still continue. So I was having difficulty.
Okay,
That's why I asked for help.
I see.
So and then this thing he's actually very hypocritical, because this guy himself, he was in another polytechnic, Singapore Polytechnic, and then he has these elitist classmates, and then he quit the school because of that. So he told me to ignore that girl, and yet he himself couldn't ignore it. So what?
So wait, you're in one poly and the guy is in another poly, and the girl is?
In the same polytechnic as me.
Wow, so you're asking that guy from another poly?
Because that guy, he was in the same class as me when I was in IT, and so was that girl. Because after IT, they go to polytechnic.
I see. Okay.
So what is the response?
What is my response to what?
Because it's like, because probably you may think that this is a situation where the person got to stand up for himself, but what if the person cannot stand up for himself?
Then, well, first and foremost, I think all of us can sort of connect with what you went through, where sometimes we face difficulties and challenges, and the person that we thought can help us didn't live up to our expectations. And as a result, we may feel helpless and alone and, isolated. Yeah. It's a whole discussion when it comes to talking about whether people should stand up for themselves or should there be some categorical or structural help given, especially in the case of students, yeah, where they are not non-adults. Yeah. I personally think that bullying of any kind should not be condoned. Yeah, should not be condoned. But I have, over the years, encountered individuals who are adults, who live their life in a way that almost make me feel that they are supporting the bullying. Yeah. So it's a fine line. On one hand, there are circumstances where we would benefit from some external help. And of course, if we can get it, that's good. But sometimes we should also learn to do something about it ourselves as well. Yeah. As far as the first part, getting people to help us, we have to also consider whether we are seeking help from the right person. Yeah. Like for example, if I have, if let's say a student need help with his studies, yeah, he himself is a C grade student, 60 plus, below 70. And then he seek help from his friend who is a D grade student. So as much as the friend, nothing, I'm not against either of them. But if he seek help from the D grade student, the chance of the D grade student being able to help him to improve his grade to B is very unlikely. Because 泥菩萨过江自身难保. He himself cannot even, get higher than D, cannot even get C, how to get a B. Yeah, so while it's nice if when we seek help, we get help, we should also choose the giver of help carefully. Yeah, because otherwise, if we just have our own expectations that is not grounded in that person's real ability, then we are subjecting ourselves to what? Setting ourselves for disappointment. Yeah, because to begin with, the person was never able to help us.
No, I disagree. The person was able, because that person was good terms on it. He could have at least tried to help. He just flat out refused to.
So, I don't know any of them.
Okay.
So I'm not going to doubt your judgment on that. So the question is, how do you feel about him outrightly rejecting your plea for help?
He's maybe so angry that I can remember now.
Okay, let me just clarify on that point. There are those people who can remember because they're angry. There are those people who can remember but they're not angry.
Okay, then I'm the one that remember and angry.
Yeah, and the reason why I clarify is because I happen to have quite good memory, but I'm not angry about any of them anymore. Yeah, but so the thing here I want to highlight, and that's the point, that in life, there will be things and situations and people who may provoke us and form the condition for us to feel angry. At the end of the day, we must recognize that we have a choice to make. We have a choice to make. If we have one condition for us to be angry, then, and that one condition happened, then we are angry. If we have two conditions for us to be angry, then compared to someone with one condition, is the person with two conditions more likely to be angry?
It's so subjective. It depends on the condition.
Yeah, so all things being equal,
Yeah.
case A, one event, 50% chance. Second person, 50% chance. okay, by probability, the second person has a higher chance of being angry. Because if any of them happen, then you basically get angry. Yeah. Yeah. So you basically have 75% chance. Yeah. Because either both don't happen, A happen, B don't happen, A don't happen, B happen, and A and B happen. So 2, 3, 4 are all going to get the person upset. In fact, number 4 is going to get the person even more upset. Yeah. So each of them have 25% chance, 50 times 50, 25%, add up 100%. So now, sometimes when I do this, it flies over people's head and they're like, and at some point I realized that, yeah, in fact, if I ask anybody to sit down and spend 15 minutes, work out the numbers, you will all agree that, yeah, statistically speaking, it gets a person more exposed to anger. But we don't function that way on a day-to-day basis. Yeah. Then why does Shifu still highlight this? It's because if you cannot even, on a calm day, reasonably agree to that, and if you can not even agree to that, then what's the chance that on a bad day, and you go through all the trouble, that you'll be able to think rationally? So at least on a calm day, sitting down, considering things, to be able to see clearly that, yeah, that path is going to get me more upset. So the question is, do you want to spend the rest of your life holding on to the anger?
Of course not. That's why on that year I lost contact.
So this is what we call resolution by obscuration. Yeah, so you distance yourself and forget about the person so you don't get angry. It works for many people. The only downside of this is if you happen to bump into him.
Oh yes, this is great. So that's why there's sometimes when I just refuse. Because I'm going to say something politically incorrect. Because I still can't contact the teacher. So like 2 years later, so the teacher told me he quitted school twice. Then I was so happy because that is his retribution. I'm sorry to tell you this. I'm sorry to ask that. He actually also, the thing actually there's
Really?
something that made me not so angry because on that when I was in IT, he told me it's okay, help me. Then he didn't help me. I really feared to go to poly. So when he asked me to go to graduation night, which is different from prom night, so I flat out refused and tell him the reason. So they'll teach him a lesson, a deterrence, not to pay lip service. It actually helps me happy, even though I just had to pay $50 for that graduation night, and I feel very thankful. Otherwise, I'm not only be crying about this, I'm crying about the $15.
You know what I'm going to suggest?
Okay, yes.
It's 2:45. So, but I like where you are. Okay, I don't really like where you're going, but I like the discussion here. So, in fact, I'm going to suggest that next week we continue with this. Yeah, because let me assure you, what he just mentioned may seem trivial to some of us, but each of us have our own little pet peeves that we get upset over, yeah, that will appear trivial to others. And to me, it is about overcoming this tendency for us to be fixated by things. Yeah, so I want to continue on this. All right? Yeah, thank you for sharing. Yeah, I mean, that's something quite personal. Yeah. So, 15 minutes for us to exchange cards. So, unless you have any burning question that, like, Shifu, answer me this question and I possibly can get enlightened. Yeah, if not, let's put our palms together.
So actually the person I'm dealing with is like him.
Like
He is like, I am the one trying to help him.
Wait, are you sure it's not the same person?
He was thinking that the person is not helping him. Then my situation was like, no, I'm trying my best to help you. But
Okay,
yeah,
I see.
but I cannot talk to that person with me. Only that person can hear the things and then
Okay. So if we solve one, we solve the other.